Did you know that your lack of change is due to you not accepting the difference between limitation and sensibility, and it is what is causing you to use your power of choice to be a victim of limitation? So let's find out what is hiding in the shadows. What choices did you make that is causing you to lack change and limit your ability to transform your life? And what would you have to do to accept the limitation to start feeling the change? So let's uncover what that is by becoming a conscious observer and using the energy of Gate 60 acceptance in this shadow work session. Now, if you're new to this channel, then welcome to Divine Blueprint, where we help you to empower your power of choice as you awaken the divine design in you. And if you're not new, then welcome back. And don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. Now, just a reminder, this session can be used anytime, whether during or after the energetic shift, as part of your shadow work for your self-discovery and healing journey. Now, in this shadow work session, I will help you to understand the following. What is the difference between limitation versus sensibility? How it affects your power of choice to make change? And at the end, you will decide whether you will make the change. Now, the tools you will need for this shadow work session is a notebook or a journal, something to write with, some tea or beverage of your choice, and a candle, and your human design blueprint. Now, if you're new to human design, you can get a free human design blueprint online. We also offer a human design foundational workshop every month to help you to understand how to read your own energy so that you can learn how to manage it and use your power of choice to make decisions and take actions that are specifically to you. So check out our link in the description box to learn how you can enroll in this upcoming workshop. So let's get started. Now, this shadow work session is based on the Human Design Gate 60 acceptance, also known as transcendence. Now, Gate 60 acceptance stores its energy in the root center, which is where this shadow work session will be focused on. Now, the root chakra center is a pressure center, and it's your foundation that holds the energy of your identity, your structure, your logic, your order that was given to you by your tribe, your parents, your caretakers, and so forth. You see, it holds the pressure of your fears, your stress, your foundation of trust, and your safety and security. And it's what holds your feeling of your right to be here, your grounding. Now, to understand how Gate 60 acceptance affects you, this is where you would want to look at your human design blueprint. Now, to learn more about Gate 60 acceptance, you can check out our Power Within Gate 60 video, and I'll leave a card here. Now, let's get into what is the difference between limitation and sensibility. Now, an Alan W. Watts quote states that to only make sense out of change is to plunge into it, to move with it, and to join the dance. So let me start off this shadow work session by asking you this. Are you making sense out of change? Are you plunging into it? Are you moving with it? And how are you dancing with it? Now, change is your ability to make different, but to make different requires you to think, to feel, and to behave differently. This is where understanding the law of perpetual transmutation helps. Now, you see, the law of perpetual transmutation states that situations will occur in your life, and they will lower your vibrational frequency, causing emotions such as anger, sadness, regret, frustration, blame, shame, and etc., which are emotions that are valid and should be felt entirely. And once they are felt, you have to reclaim your power back to bring yourself back to a higher vibration. Now, you must be wondering, what does this have to do with understanding the difference between limitation and sensibility? So let me break down limitation first. When a challenging situation occurred in your life, you lack the awareness on how to resolve it. And you see, this lack of awareness puts you in a state of fear, and it's what creates the foundation of limitation to protect yourself from feeling unsafe. Now, limitation is a pressure energy. It's an energy of restriction, boundary, a point of cutoff mentally and physically. And this pressure energy will cause you to either build a hard structure in your mind and around you to feel in control of this and any other challenging situation that may occur, or may have occurred in your life in the past, and this is your fight or flight response. Now, this pressure energy can cause you to abandon your boundaries due to you feeling that you don't have the knowledge or wisdom to protect yourself and keep yourself safe. And therefore, you will not commit, you will not take responsibility of what's going on in your life. And this is your freeze or fawn response. It will keep you in a state of perpetual anger, sadness, regret, blame, and other lower vibrational emotions, a constant state of restricting your power of choice. Now, when you start to create limitations in your life, this is known as a crisis. Now, before I explain the crisis, let's reflect on the limitations, and then I will explain sensibility. So it's time to become the conscious observer, and let's reflect on the following. 1. What is the biggest limitation you are currently facing and why? 2. What type of hard boundaries have you built, if any, that is associated with these limitations internally and externally? 3. How is this limitation affecting your life internally and externally, and why? And last, 4, what type of emotional pressure does this limitation stir up internally and externally, and how does it show up in your daily interactions? Now be gentle with yourself and take the time to reflect on the thoughts, feel into the emotions, and recognize the behaviors and the patterns that are coming up for you. So let's move into sensibility. Now, sensibility is an energy of perception through your physical senses that are guided by your spiritual senses and works with the natural laws of the universe. It's your ability to gain knowledge by seeing, by touching, tasting, hearing, feeling, and most importantly, your intuition. This is because your physical senses help you to interpret the messages from your spiritual senses, which are then fed into your intuition. Now, through sensibility, you are able to flow through life and build the structures that are necessary for containing this natural flow. It helps you to understand what your limitations are, what structures you will need to build, the best way to navigate through them to create change, and when to tear down an old structure and replace it with a new one. Now, when you are in touch with your sensibility, it empowers your power of choice by allowing you to use all of your senses to decide what type of change is appropriate for you in your season of life. So therefore, you can just start taking the action and communicating what you require for lasting change. So it's time again to become the conscious observer, and let's reflect on the following. 1. How has your limitation caused you to not see, to not hear, to not feel, to not taste, to not touch, and misinterpret your intuition and affect your power of choice? 2. What are the beliefs that are associated with this limitation, and where did you receive these beliefs? What is causing you to still hold on to these beliefs, and who or what would you feel you would be betraying if you changed these beliefs, and why? And 3, what would you have to change the belief to change the limitation, and how will you change it? Now be gentle with yourself and take the time to reflect on the thoughts. Feel into the emotions and recognize the behaviors and the patterns that are coming up for you. Now let's move into crisis and how this limitation affects your power of choice. Now, a crisis occurs when a life-changing decision has to be made, but you are too afraid to make that decision due to your lack of awareness. Now, this lack of awareness creates a shadow, a state of mental illusion, and a dulling of your senses, which causes you to focus on only interpreting the choice from either your masculine or your feminine energetic personality instead of both. Now, because it separates your masculine, your logical side, which is in its shadow will cause you to fight or flight, and your feminine, your imagination side, which in its shadow will cause you to freeze or fawn. And it doesn't allow you to see and accept the truth. So as a result of that, it will limit your power of choice. Now, your power of choice fuels your thoughts, it fuels your emotions and your behaviors. Let me take a moment to explain how you lose your power of choice by explaining what are shadows and how they are formed. Now, as human beings, our bodies are made up of pure and mass energy. And pure energy are your thoughts, your spirit, and mass energy are your atoms, the matter that you hold, your positive and your negative charges, the heaviness that you carry in your structure known as your body. Now, these energies vibrate up and down, and this is known as polarity. Now, this polarity is your single unified energetic personality, also known as your true authentic self, and this is your true energy. This is where your masculine and your feminine energy are in harmony with one another, and they're working in unity, and they're fully connected to your spiritual support team. This is what allows you to receive those ideals, those inspirations, those concepts of things in the mind of God, the divine, and see the truth. Now, in order for your true authentic self to interact with life, it experiences through dual energetic personalities, and this is also known as duality, split energetic personality. Now, this duality exposes you to the pair of opposites, such as light and dark, cause and effect, better and worse, good and bad, objective and subjective, conscious and unconscious, and I can go on. Now, this push and pull is what creates the dynamic that you experience in your life. And when you come across an experience that requires you to make a hard choice, and if the result of the decision makes you feel uncomfortable in any way, it will cause you to ignore the truth and replace the truth with facts, a lie sprinkled with a little truth. And as a result of that lie, you will have to put on a mask, and this mask creates a shadow version of yourself. Being in this state causes your connection to your spiritual support team to be interrupted and weakening your power of choice, dulling your senses, limiting your ability to make decisions and taking actions that result in meaningful change. Now, you may feel that shadows are bad, but they are not. They are formed due to some type of fear, and they are a part of your spiritual growth and development, your spiritual maturity. And the purpose of the shadow is to help you to see different aspects of yourself that you are animating that are not from a place of loving and valuing yourself. And they are areas where you have given your willpower away, where you have compromised yourself, and where you have shut down different parts of yourself, keeping your energy low and limiting your power of choice. Now, the fear that created the shadow is associated to a belief that you've accepted, which led you to building hard structures to protect yourself. Now, the acceptance of this belief caused you to compromise yourself and give away your authority, your value, your power to the belief, becoming its victim. Now, this victimization energizes your thoughts, your words, and your emotional behaviors, which is fueled by your power of choice, causing your power of choice to become limited and desensitizing your senses. Now, these behaviors may seem normal to you because you've constantly animated them throughout your life, and your body feels extremely comfortable in these emotional states. But it is what is causing you to abandon your value, to avoid your purpose, keeping you in an addictive state of suffering, a numbing, constantly giving up your willpower, depleting your energy, and it all leads to you using your power of choice to make poor decisions and misjudge actions. And as a result, you endure their tough consequences in your relationships, in your finances, and in everything around you. So it's time again to become a conscious observer, and let's reflect on the following. 1, what are some patterns that you can recognize that shows you the difference between your normal state and your shadow state? 2, how has your shadow state desensitized your senses? And last 3, what victim role are you currently animating, and what would you have to do to change it? Now be gentle with yourself and take the time to reflect on the thoughts, feel into the emotions, and recognize the behaviors and the patterns that are coming up for you. So let's move into deciding on what to do. Now, to move out of your shadow, the victimization, you have to decide to move into love. And love is a vibration that keeps your energy high, and it's based on adventure. It's based on self-responsibility and accountability, which can only be experienced when you take the risk and you break free from your mind and you live from an open heart. This is where you live in unity with all, with the acceptance that what you do to yourself, you do to others, and what you do to others, you do to you. And when you are in unity with all, you know your value, you know your worth, you know that you are divine, and you are selflessly loving others, and you are using your power of choice in its full capacity. Now, once you are in the vibration of love, it is helpful to create boundaries, and these boundaries are internal and not something you voice to the world. Your boundaries' job is to allow you to stay in a single polarity. This is that collaboration, the synergy, the unification with your whole self, the harmonization of your masculine and feminine personalities. And the ultimate goal of your boundaries is to help you with making decisions and taking actions so that you are not compromising who you are, so that you no longer allow yourself to wear the mask and you live in your shadow state. So remember to always take time to think about what boundaries do you currently have in place and whether those boundaries are allowing you to stay connected and expressing your true self. So this is the last time to become the conscious observer, and let's reflect on the following. 1. Are you willing to recognize the limitations, accept what has to change, and reconnect with your senses and make the change? Why or why not? 2. What are 6 ways that you can reconnect with your senses to start trusting what they are communicating to you, and will you commit to this reconnection? And last 3, what boundaries will you have to put in place to ensure that you are staying in the natural flow of change to empower your power choice? Now be gentle with yourself and take the time to reflect on the thoughts. Feel into the emotions and recognize the behaviors and the patterns that are coming up for you. Now, before I go, let me ask you another set of questions. Are you tired of living in your shadow? Are you tired of living in crisis mode and continually feeling insecure and unsafe? Are you tired of constantly feeling powerless? And are you ready to grab hold of your life and make meaningful change? Now, if you've answered yes, then I would like to invite you into my 9-week mentorship program called A Time for You. And this mentorship program is an intimate program that is limited to a small group of people so that we can focus on strengthening your internal boundaries, which allows you to be intentional with your power of choice. Now, your internal boundaries are connected to your values, your mission, your purpose, and your vision. And the strength of all of these are necessary when you are making decisions and you are taking actions, because they help you to see and accept the truth. Now, to learn more about this program and to secure your seat, then click the link in the description box to be taken to our online university. We look forward to seeing you in our next program. Now that we have completed this shadow work session, how are you going to decide to make sense out of change? Are you going to plunge into it? Are you going to move with it and join the dance? Are you going to accept the past and remove the harsh structures that are limiting you from making that lasting change? No matter what you decide, it's your power of choice. So use it wisely. We'll see you in the next shadow work session.